a business. The minutes were sent via email. Any alteration or correction? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Okay. Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
3-0. Very good. Jared, right to you.
Okay, so on the old business, on the Carl Helms tile, I don't really have an update. I did talk with Habig's Rod Jenis, and he is getting closer. They were doing they're gonna expand that pond, the detention area, and they were gonna do all of that work while they're out there doing that. So it was kind of weather dependent when they could do the expansion of the detention pond before they can do the rest of it. So it should be here in the near future. On the 2026 spray program, the contractor actually started last Monday. Depending on the rain showers and weather and wind and all that, they were able to work 4 days last week, but it was mainly in I'll say the central part of the county that we got a lot more rain out south than they did anywhere else. And so they were kind of hit or miss where they could, where they had, grass filter strip or whatever, and they could work. But they did get started last week. So, under the new business, and you should have two maps in front of you. One of them is just strictly black and white. It is and it should look something like that. It should be in that pile, Jeff. There's one that's just black and white, and that shows Mill Street. That's the one, Mike. The one you had there, Mike. That one.
Is there an additional one?
And then there should be an additional one that's in color that's for the next petition, so.
This is the only thing I've got. These up here? Okay.
So NIPSCO, as part of a project on Mill Street in Ossian, they are not really relocating, they are replacing I believe 4-inch gas line along Mill Street. They need to bore underneath the 8 Mile Creek. Meets all of our requirements. They've sent in all their paperwork. I have a copy of the full permit if you want it, that has all of their erosion control plan, has all of that stuff. I figured the map and the details on it is probably the most important part of it. So does appear to meet all of our requirements. And if any of you want to see the full permit, be glad to share that with you. Before we leave today, provided that it is approved, I need to make sure everybody's signature so that Susie can actually notarize that. I should have said that first. Susie Jenis, who is normally the Area Plan Commission Secretary and works in the Area Plan Office, is filling in for the Drainage Board Secretary for this meeting. So, thank you, Susie. Yes, thank you. The current gas line runs on the north side. I think it's attached to the bridge. So they're actually going to bore underneath the ditch and run underneath.
Is this for the Casey's project?
No, it's on Mill Street.
On Mill Street.
This is right beside energy control, if I remember on the map.
Yep.
So how far under the ditch will they be?
5 feet. 5.5 feet, actually. Our requirement is 5. They propose to go 5.5.
Excellent. Okay. I have no issues with it.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
3-0.
Okay, so the second one, and that is a drawing that is in color, or has some color on it. This is for 2 gas line relocations. This is on State Road 1 where the Smith open ditch, that would be just south of the industrial park there at Ossian. NDOT is replacing the structure underneath State Road 1 in a future project. There are 2 gas lines that have to be relocated as part of that project. One is a 12-inch high pressure that is the main feed for a fairly large area up there. And then there's also a 4-inch that's more of a residential service type line. The The 12-inch line, they have proposed to go 5.5 feet below the Smith tile. They did ask me for an exception, and I believe it is warranted because of the 4-inch, all of the 90s that they have to put in it and dig. They would only be 3.5 feet below, but there's a separation distance between the 12-inch line and that 4-inch service line that they have to keep a certain separation. And so depth of trench, shoring, all of that, it warrants that exception to the design. So meets all of our requirements. Otherwise, it's just that they were asking for a variance on that 5-foot separation only on the 4-inch line.
So the 12 is like this?
The
and
12
the 4 is like,
It has to go out and around in a bunch of 90s and, yeah,
okay.
yeah. I'm okay with that. The tile has been replaced in that area. They are, and when I say they, NDOT is putting a new outlet pipe and structure on the end of it. So all of the digging that will be done in that vicinity will be done by an NDOT contractor, not by us. And that tile should be good for the next, at least for the rest of my life, and hopefully for the next surveyor's life. That I don't have a problem with them varying on that 3.5-foot separation.
I'm gonna make a motion to accept the plan, including the variance.
I'll second that. And the variance.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
3-0.
Okay. And next order of business, you should have a 11 by 17 drawing, if you want to come up, Andrew. Make sure the button's up on your microphone.
Yep, looks like it's good.
Have a request from Josh Fichter Farms. Is it Josh Fichter Farms? They are asking for approval to relocate a section of the Charles Boyer Ditch. When this was discussed probably a year ago now, I'm
At
guessing.
least 6, 7 months ago.
6 or 7
Last
months
fall,
ago.
I think maybe I'll have close to a year, yeah.
So one of the concerns, or I won't say concern that I had, recommendation that I had for them is first you need to go through the Army Corps, IDEM, and DNR, make sure what permits are necessary and if permits are necessary to do the various things. They did have to do a 401 certification with IDEM, construction and a floodway permit with DNR, and the Army Corps falls under a regional general permit. It's not an individual permit, but it does require the 401 from IDEM to fall under that exemption. It's not really an exemption, it's a general permit. So the other concern that we had was tiles that may or may not come from off-site. They did locate tiles, rerouted those to either the end of the open ditch or somewhere else. And then when it comes to easement, this is something that I always try to look at, is that our easement is measured from the top of bank. We wanted to make sure that that new location of that ditch did not have any effect on an adjoining property owner not owned by them. And so they're proposing to keep the ditch 75 feet away from their property line so that that easement does not extend onto somebody else's property. So you can give details of, like, part of it's 2-stage, you can give some of those details.
Yeah, yeah, so we are filling in the ditch there in the middle and rerouting and catching it at the other property line. We did do the lower 500 feet as a 2-stage channel. I know Mr. Hahn's been a big fan of the 2-stage ditch. I used to work for the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service, and I was a big fan of them myself. The regulators are also big fans, so that was part of the reason to include it, because it does improve water quality and makes less maintenance on the ditch. We did go back to a traditional ditch after about 500 feet, just because of the depth. It gets so deep, you'd have to remove a lot of dirt to make the 2-stage functional. And then as we get to the tail end, we did another couple hundred feet of 2-stage where it made sense again. We're replacing, there's currently an aluminum structure in the existing ditch. We're gonna replace that with a concrete structure at the head of the new ditch, and then we'll run our tile and outlet them there. We are lengthening the ditch. I think it's currently 1,500 or so feet, and will be closer to 3,000 feet, which actually Army Corps, IDEM, and DNR kind of like that because it does create a little more habitat, actually, for wildlife and aquatic species. The other thing that'll be nice is it'll get new vegetation, so it'll have more, probably a little bit better vegetation than what's currently in the ditch. It's usually reed canary grass. We'll go to more native species that should hopefully, if they establish well, would hopefully keep the reed canary grass at bay, which is easier to maintain. And then as part of the IDEM 401 permit, we actually have to show that vegetation is 70% established in 1 year. And if it's not, we have to provide a mitigation plan to get it corrected. So yeah, DNR has seen it. They required us to do modeling on the project. So we showed that we were not going to increase any flood elevations anywhere on the project, because this actually does fall, part of the channel does fall within the 100-year floodplain. So we had to check and make sure we weren't doing that. So DNR checked that when we were good there.
So you guys re-sloping the contour of the ground to go away from the ditch? Because that ditch runs down the middle. So you gotta imagine the ground runs to the ditch.
Correct,
Gonna
to some
recontour.
extent, yeah, it does to some extent. So yeah, there may be a little shaping there where we fill it. If it's stays farm field, it would probably be grassed to some extent. Well, I take that back. We're catching a lot of that runoff, so I take that back. I apologize. Since we're putting the structure in at the property line, all that surface runoff is going to fall into our structure upstream at the property line. So the like 600 acres it's coming across would actually fall in at the property line instead of cutting across the field. So there would be some watershed there, but it wouldn't be nearly what it is now.
And the structure's going here, right?
Correct, yep. So most of the water actually comes across the property line there. You know, there's,
The water's running from west to east.
Yes.
Going the other way. It's going that direction.
Yeah, so it slopes this way.
Right, right.
correct,
So
yeah.
how are you gonna get all this water that's over here that runs to the ditch to run to there?
It won't. It'll run back to where it originally went in. The only water that would run in there will be off of that farm.
Correct.
Everything else will be captured upstream a bit.
Yeah,
Is there an elevation map in here somewhere?
yeah. Should be sheet C102, which right now we're showing just basically filling to the top of the existing ditch. So it'd be kind of what the ground was before we put before the ditch was there. Which it does look like it was cut through a hill.
837 down, 838, down by the inlet near it.
Yeah, and so, yeah, there definitely would still be some water flow in that direction for sure.
So you got a 7-foot drop, 6-foot drop. All right.
Is there a pipe in the bottom of the current ditch,
A pipe.
drain tile?
So there are some drain tiles that do currently drain into the end of that open ditch. Not under.
Not under, okay.
I did include, there should be a typewritten page. It's the section of Indiana Drainage Code, talks about when a owner wants to do a reconstruction of a drain and move it on their property, talks about what needs to happen to do that. So, once again, project is proposed. It consists exclusively of the relocation of a regulated drain on one site on the property owned by a person to another site owned by the same person. This is all under common ownership. It will be subject to my inspection as well as Army Corps, IDEM, and DNR inspection. And they are going to pay the cost of doing this. We will not have any contribution into the cost of doing it. So
Even tie into existing tiles and all.
that will all be part of their cost. So number 6 in that list is that I have to investigate to see if there's any adverse impacts. As I said, one of my key things is making sure that we don't affect people with easement that didn't exist before. Check that box. DNR, and I'll kind of defer to all of the people who map and do all the modeling for the hydraulics on that part. DNR currently, this just changed a year or two ago, with flood zone elevations. It used to be you could affect the flood zone by 0.14 feet and still get a permit. Today, it's zero rise. You can't have any effect on the flood zone elevation. So their project, when they modeled it, designed it, they had to design this so that there would be no effect to an upstream or downstream owner, period. So I think number 6 is covered. Or number 6 and number 7, I don't think anybody will be adversely affected. And so at our meeting, you guys can approve the project and authorize them to reconstruct it. So,
I have not reviewed this, so you would be doing this without any advice from legal counsel. I just think it's important for that to be on the record. I'm not saying not to do it, I'm just saying I haven't reviewed this or the statute.
How could you have it done by the next drainage meeting?
Yeah,
Is there currently a lake or a pond in the back of this property?
there's one just downstream of the site. There's
Downstream.
a pond.
Okay.
I'll withdraw my motion pending legal review.
Let me ask this. Could you approve it pending his review? And if he says, I don't have any issue legally with it, then it's approved. Could we do that?
Time,
I don't know that there is. I just, on area plan, it seems like we've done that. We'll continue things and then, like, that, you know, we're waiting on NDOT's permit approval. Well, once the permit's approved, is there any sense in holding things up? So I guess, is that doable? That,
I would say we would appreciate that, because it's another month of construction weather that we're passing up.
2 weeks. We meet every.
Well, I
We-
think
we-
the July,
we canceled
yeah, the
the
first
meeting.
of July
What
meeting
kind
is
of
canceled.
timeline would you be looking to review on that?
I don't know.
Okay.
And I apologize. I don't know. 52.58 indicates that you can do it at a public meeting. I don't know if prior notice is required. And again, I'm not trying to create issues.
right.
And if you want to approve it, you may. I'm just indicating I don't want you to approve this thinking that I have previously reviewed
Right, okay.
and understood the process.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve this, but pending legal review.
Okay.
So, and that's what you're asking for, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's, to me, that's fair.
I'll second that.
In order for me to provide a proper review, can you please give me the same packet you've provided to the commissioners? Okay.
And if you need anything else, I'm happy to oblige.
And do you want it emailed as well, or is the paper copy good enough?
An email is always a great reminder for your county attorney, so that would
Okay.
be appreciated.
I will try to do that tomorrow.
Thank you.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
Thank you.
Okay. Last order of business I have involves the budget for 2027. As you guys are well aware, there's been a request from county council to turn in a business as usual budget and also turn in one that is a 15% reduction. So, worked on the numbers a little bit. We, as the Drainage Board, we need to cut dollar amount for you. We need to cut about $3,466 out of our budget. There's only certain things in the Drainage Board budget. One of them is postage for sending legal notices for hearings. We can't cut that. One of them is our attorney. We need legal advice. We can't exactly cut that. We have a line item for river maintenance that I fought really hard for to get money to do logjam removals. It doesn't happen every year. but it does happen, and I think keeping that money in there is important. That, to me, that is more of a need than a want. So I don't want to cut that. The only thing left is the board members per diem, and that's it. So I guess a couple of alternatives would be, do we go to one meeting per month as a regular practice instead of two? We could meet the off time of what the solid waste district meets. We could meet at 4 o'clock then. Then I don't get a per diem for after-hours meeting. Whoever the secretary of the board isn't gonna get comp time that I've gotta cover with, part-time later. That's one option. Typically, throughout the year, there are, people are on vacation, people are sick, whatever happens, that there's, one of you is absent, occasionally on meetings. That, do I need to budget for every member, every meeting, every single time, which is what I think we should do. But the reality is we don't always spend our per diems. So I could cut that back a little bit. We could put enough in there that we would have enough for a couple of special meetings. If we have something that is time sensitive and we need to have a special meeting, we could just call a special meeting that I can cut back enough to get under that 15%. But we could still, plan on 12 meetings a month or 12 meetings a year. If we need to cancel or if we need to have some special meetings in between, there would be plenty of time to send out notice and have a special meeting if need be. Are you guys okay with that way of doing it?
The whole thing is APC, site development plans, that kind of stuff. Easements that Matt would have or Nate would have.
There's just no, and that's why I say, if there's something pressing, we could have a special meeting if we need to. If we know that we're getting 2/3 of the way through the year and there's a crunch, hey, we had a special meeting, we could do all of our regular business and we don't have anything on the agenda, we could cancel another meeting. I think we could make it work. And
I like the idea of going to one a month versus two a month.
okay.
Play it out, see how it goes,
And leave a little bit of wiggle room for some special meetings if we need them.
15,
Second meeting, we do it.
Okay. Okay.
15 or 16 in there and cut back. And if
Okay.
we don't need them, we don't use them, don't spend them.
Okay. Because, yeah, I don't want to hold up development either. That's,
I would say, when you look at how many meetings we say, I'd say half of them are 10 minutes, 15 minutes or less. I mean, it's probably not something that would hurt to roll into the next,
Right.
the next one.
but if we have something that's important, we can have an extra meeting if we need to, and have it either before the solid waste or at the end of the commissioner meeting. We can figure that out if we need to.
I'm comfortable leaving it to your discretion.
Okay. That's what I will propose in the budget.
Okay, very good.
That is all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have anything for us?
And I just realized in the second NIPSCO, I do not have the signature page, I only have it for one. It is the same, yes, we can.
Photocopy? Wonderful. Even better.
So before we leave, I just need all of you to sign that so that Susie can notarize it before we leave. So that's all I need.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Oh, One other quick thing, okay? The detail listing sheet. It looks a little different this year, or this month than it did last month.
Right.
From Data Pit Stop, there's a report that I can export that looks like this. I think it has basically all of the same information that the last one had, except for things being highlighted when there's claims coming out. I've actually talked with Darren to see if we can make a report that it does that automatically, so that I don't have to try to take two sets of data and put them into an Excel spreadsheet and do all that. We're working on that.
I have no problem with the format. If I could get the highlights in it, it'd be good. That was helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hopefully by next meeting, we'll have that accomplished, that it's an easy button instead of trying to put stuff together, so. Now we're good. And there's just one meeting in July, the 15th, 14th, I forget what the date, the middle meeting in July. The first meeting in July is canceled, so.
Correct. Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you guys.
I know it's post-meeting. July 6th meeting has been canceled. We canceled that at the last meeting. The next meeting would then be 2 weeks after that, or July 20th.
20th, that's the date. Okay, thank you.